नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनेति नामिते। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिसे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। Hare Krishna. We are reading from Krishna Consciousness, the Topmost Yoga System, by one Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. We are reading from chapter 4th, the goal of yoga. Okay. So we have last time we have learned who is Mayavadi or impersonalist. क्यों माने मायावादी और impersonalist? तो मायावादी और impersonalist रे फरक कहथिली। तो मायावादी माने ସେମାନେ कोन भावंती कृष्ण भगवान जी अछंती तांको शरीर माया रे तयारी बोली। और impersonalist माने कोन भावंती ए भगवान को कोनसी व्यक्तित्व ही नाही। आज में नया पैराग्राफ स्टार्ट करेगा। तो प्रभुपाद ए मायावादी कॉन्सेप्ट को बुझिया पे और सुंदर भावे कहउछंती ए लास्ट टाइम आमे आउट से पड़े ड्यूटी वर्शिप कि मायावादी और इम्पर्सनलिस्ट माने भावंती ए भगवान रो विग्रह कोत्रे तयारी बोली। ସେମାନେ ଭାବନ୍ତି ये सिंपली काटो किंबा पत्थर रे बोली तयारी बोली। ओके तो हम पढ़िबा आज। You have to learn how to contact Krishna everyone in everything. प्रभुपाद कहउछन्ती हमको शिक्षा करबो कि हमें भगवान को सहित किपरि आउ केउठारे कांटेक्ट होता संस्पर्श रे आसी परिबा। So that is explained in system of yoga. Krishna consciousness is also yoga, the perfect yoga, the highest of all yogic system. The Krishna भावनामृत अर्थात भक्ति योग शुद्ध भक्तिर योग एटा सब प्रकार योगर सर्वोत्कृष्ट रे अछि। योगी may come and we can challenge him saying that this is the topmost yoga system, though at the same time it is very simple. The Krishna consciousness is very simple and at the same time it is subtle, sukma, and you don't have to exercise your body over a period of weeks. You will feel some power. कि हमको यहाँ पे विशेष परिश्रम एक्सरसाइज करने पड़ेगा नहीं किसी सप्ताह की किसी दिन ताकि हमें किसी एनर्जी भोग करेगा। But in Krishna consciousness, you won't feel tired. All of our students are simply anxious to be overloaded with work in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada, what can I do? And they are actually doing it. In the material world, if you work for some time, you will feel weak. So in whole paragraph, Prabhupada is explaining this Krishna consciousness is the topmost of all yoga system. And unlike other yoga, one never gets tired, either for chanting or doing any kind of service. But in case of in opposite case, in this material world, whenever we do some work, we feel tired. Okay. But in Krishna consciousness, always one feel encouraged. Okay, either for chanting or serving or.
प्रभु अपन वॉइस ब्रेक हो।
Hare Krishna. Am I audible? Suddenly it got disconnected. Nitish Prabhu, am I audible?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी सुना होଉଛି ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ
Okay. So ମୁଁ କହୁଥିଲି କି କୃଷ୍ଣ consciousness ରେ କୌଣସି ସବୁବେଳେ we are already filled with joy, happiness, encouragement and enthusiasm. But in material world, anything, anytime we do any some kind of work, we feel tired. So Prabhupada is mentioning next paragraph. Of course, I am not exercising myself. I am an old man of 72 years. I was ill. I went back to India, but I want to work. Actually, I could retire from all these activities, but as far as I can, I want to work. I want to learn day and night. At night, I will work with a dictaphone, and I am sorry if I cannot work. This is Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada, at the age of 72, Prabhupada just sleep 2 hours. In a whole day, Prabhupada sleeps 2 hours. Today, in the today morning, Prabhupada is in one country, and in the evening or the night or in the next day, Prabhupada is in another country. So Prabhupada's whole physics or whole body it is said the time tested body. Okay, for real time, Prabhupada is moving with real time. So why Prabhupada is doing so many things to save us from this material conditioning. So it is not ଆମେ କେବେ ଭାବିବା ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ କି ଆମେ ଭୌତିକ ଜଗତରେ ଅଛେ କିଛି ସମୟ ଆମେ ଏନ୍ଜୟ କରିବା କିଛି ଭକ୍ତି କରିବା କିଛି ଏନ୍ଜୟ କରିବା କିଛି ଭକ୍ତି କରିବା ତ actually if one continue to read Bhagavad Gita, so one will inspire to at least do bhakti in this life, nothing more than this. ସେ କେବଳ ଭକ୍ତି କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଚାହିଁବ ଯଦି ଆମେ ଭକ୍ତି ବ୍ୟତୀତ କିଛି ମେଟେରିଆଲ ଆକ୍ଟିଭିଟିଜ କରୁଛେ ଲାଗୁଛି ହଁ ନାଇଁ ଆମକୁ ଏନ୍ଜୟ ବି କରିବାର ଅଛି ଦୁନିଆରେ ଆଉ ଟିକେ ଭକ୍ତି ଟିକେ କଣ ଓଡିଆରେ କହନ୍ତିନି ଟିକେ ଖରା ଟିକେ ଛାଇ ସେଇ କନସେପ୍ଟ ରେ ଯଦି କିଏ ରହିବ ତାହେଲେ ହି ଇଜ ଜଷ୍ଟ ଟିଚିଂ ହିମସେଲ୍ଫ ସେ ତାକୁ ଚିଟ୍ କରୁଛି କାହିଁକି ଚିଟ୍ କରୁଛି କାରଣ ମେଟେରିଆଲ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ଇଭେନ ଇଫ ୟୁ ଟ୍ରାଏଡ ଭେରି ହାର୍ଡ you are an expert swimmer, you cannot cross the material ocean, you cannot be happy. Because if you practice the Bhakti Yoga system, you will be protected by Supreme Lord. That much conviction, that much faith is required to do Bhakti at least. So Prabhupada is mentioning at the night, Prabhupada is working with the dictaphone. Dictaphone is mentioned. Dictaphone is for recording all the scripture. One must be very anxious to work, or sir, it is not an ideal society. Okay. So no, we have sufficient engagement, eating, editing papers, selling papers, or book distribution. We can say Prabhupada is mentioning book distribution. Either in temple, we are engaged in deity or doing some swadhyaya, or chanting, or hearing, or some book distribution. So many kinds of services are there. So simply find out how Krishna conscious you can be. So it is in Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, Sthane Sthita Suchigatam. At your place, whatever you are doing, you try to connect with Krishna. That is the art of working in Krishna consciousness. So if you want to really at peace, Prabhupada is mentioning the word of scripture. If you want to be really at peace, if you want to be happy, then develop Krishna consciousness. Okay, even if our small attempt to be fully Krishna conscious. Okay, तो केमती गोटे एग्जांपल देउची धर आम घरे से जो इलेक्ट्रिक बल्ब अच्छी इलेक्ट्रिक बल्ब केते वाट रो 250 वाट रो अच्छी तो बेले बेले लाइट पूरा डिम आसे डिम रे आमे कुछ देखि पारंदे नै किंतु बेले बेले लाइट टा पूरा फुल आसे तो कोन कहंदी मोरे मने पने टर्म गोटे पूरा लाइट पूरा फुल आसे 250 माने 250 वाट रो लाइट पळे आसे तो अल्प समय खरा दिने पूरा फुल लाइट पळे आसीबो किछ समय रहबो पूरा पूरा पळेबो the Krishna consciousness is just like this. Even you do some kind of service, either hearing or reading or anything, you become sincere and consistent, and you put your heart in that service. ଟିକିଏ ସେବା ବି ଆମେ ଏତେ କରୁଛେ ତାକୁ ଯଦି କନସିଷ୍ଟେନ୍ସିରେ କରୁଛେ ଆଉ ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଆମ ହୃଦୟକୁ ଦେଇକି ଆମେ କରୁଛେ ତାହେଲେ ଏଇଟା ଫୁଲ ରେ କାଉଣ୍ଟ ହବ ଏଇଟା ହାଫ ରେ କାଉଣ୍ଟ ହବନି ଫୁଲ ରେ କାଉଣ୍ଟ ହବ ଆମକୁ ସେତିକି ଆସ୍ପାୟାର କରିବାର ଅଛି ଇଚ୍ ଡେ even for small time we have to chant or we have to study we have to render some kind of service even if it is small time it is considered as complete. That's why Prabhupada is mentioning we have to develop Krishna consciousness somehow or other. Jena kena prakarena mana Krishna nivasayat. Somehow or other we have to connect with Krishna. The process which we have prescribed is chanting and dancing for deity and offering prasadam, spiritual food. The simple, it is too simple. What is Krishna consciousness? Krishna consciousness means chanting, dancing, and eating prasadam. No one can expect. Chanting, eating prasadam, and dancing. Simple. You come, you have to chant your rounds. You come to temple, dance before the Lord, and then accept prasad. That is too simple. And by this, you can go back home, back to Godhead. That is too simple. Process is too simple because it has to be uh, connect with our heart. It becomes difficult because our heart is a full reservoir of so many bad things, anarthas, unwanted things. So soon it will go away. So this will make you more Krishna consciousness. More and more our heart become purified, we become more Krishna conscious. And becoming more Krishna conscious means we become more happy. Okay, happier devotee. So we'll read another paragraph. The yoga system as it is described in Bhagavad Gita is different from bogus yoga system which is going on in the western this country these days. The Prabhupada mentioning in the name of yoga, yoga has some good effect, that it has some positive health consciousness, it develop positive health consciousness. We can do so many healthy exercise. But in for the purpose of spiritual growth, the modern yoga is irrelevant. Why? Because they are just cheating. How? Prabhupada is mentioning they are bogus yoga system because that is not prescribed in Bhagavad Gita. The yoga system which we have been introduced into the West by so-called yogis are not bona fide. Yoga is difficult. The first thing is to control the senses. So in modern days, people do yoga. In modern days, people do yoga, but they are doing yoga for the purpose of their own sense gratification. They are developing their bodily consciousness. So that is not yoga. Yoga means linking our consciousness with Krishna. So Prabhupada, that's why calling this modern yoga system, though it is helpful for the body, it develops the bodily concept of life. That's why it is bogus. That is not bona fide. That is not genuine. So one must be aware of this. The first thing of yoga is to control our senses. Indriya Nigraha. And that is the position of yogi. He is not allowed to indulge in sex life. If you indulge in intoxication, if you indulge in sex life, if you indulge in meat eating, and if you indulge in gambling and sporting, all that is nonsense. So sometimes you must have seen that in gym, they kept a very beautiful picture of Hanumanji having strong and stout body. And Hanuman is pure brahmachari. And they want to build up their body, but they want to do their sense gratification. Okay. So Prabhupada is mentioning that is not the purpose of yoga. So you have to obey this four regulatory principle to become a good yogi. To controlling the senses is the first and thing to perform in yoga system. So Prabhupada is mentioning, I am astonished when a yogi come here having advertised in India that you can be a yogi, even you may be addicted to drinking. The Prabhupada is exclaiming that one time one person came and he said that you all can be a good yogi, even if you drink or eat meat, anything else. But that is not yoga system. This is not standard. You can call it yoga, but it is not standard yoga system. So Prabhupada is mentioning what is Krishna. Earlier paragraph Prabhupada mentioning the simplicity of Bhakti Yoga, and in next paragraph Prabhupada mentioning or Prabhupada is exposing the bogusness of this modern yoga system, which is more or less centered around this bodily concept of life. So that is not up to the standard yoga system. So the yoga system is especially difficult what this says. Here the term yoga means Ashtanga yoga or Jnana yoga that is mentioned in this context. This yoga system is especially difficult for this age. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand that yoga means to concentrate one's attention on the super soul Vishnu. He is situated in our heart, and in order to concentrate your attention, you have to control the senses. So Prabhupada is mentioning fast stand, or we can say in Ashtanga yoga system, there is yama, there is niyama. Yama means controlling senses. Sorry, yama means don'ts. Then niyama means do's and don'ts. Yama, niyama. Then asana, pranayama, pratyahara. Then dhyana, dharana, samadhi. And the last point of time, one meditate or one is fully absorbed on the Supreme Lord Vishnu, who is present in everyone's heart. But before the foremost step of that ecosystem, Ashtanga yoga system, is controlling the senses. So that is essential. So Prabhupada is mentioning that is the standard of yoga. By controlling senses, our mind get less agitation, less agitated, and one can easily concentrate with the Supreme Lord. So in order to concentrate, we have to control the senses. The senses are working just like infuriated horses. Okay, the Prabhupada is mentioning that our senses is working like horses and who are going hither and thither. So if you cannot control the horses of your carriage, it will be dangerous. ଭାବନ୍ତୁ ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ ଶଗଡ଼ ଗାଡ଼ିରେ ସରି ଯାଉଛେ କିମ୍ବା ଗୋଟେ କାର୍ଟ କଣ କୋଉଥିରେ ଯାଉଛେ ରଥରେ ଯାଉଛେ ସେଥିରେ ଘୋଡ଼ା ମାନେ ଅଛନ୍ତି ତ ଘୋଡ଼ା ମାନେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ସବୁବେଳେ ଏପଟ ସେପଟ ହେଇଯିବେ ତାହେଲେ ଯିଏ ରଥି ଥିବ ତାହେଲେ ତାର କଣ ଅବସ୍ଥା ହବ ସେ କୋଉ ମୁହୂର୍ତ୍ତରେ ଆକ୍ସିଡେଣ୍ଟ ବି ହେଇପାରେ. So if you cannot control the horse of your carriage, it will be dangerous. Just imagine that you are seated in a carriage and your horse are so furious that they are dragging you to hell. What is your position? The yoga system means to control the senses. The senses are also compared to serpent. तो हम जो इंद्रिय माने अछन ताको साप सहित तुलना करायछि. The serpent does not know who is its friend or who is its enemy. Okay, साप केबे जानेनी कार त्यार के शत्रु की मित्र समस्तों कामुडे. It bites everyone and as soon as the serpent bites, the result is death. तो आमे हमर इंद्रिय को आमे एतले बुद्धिहीन हे कि आमे इंद्रिय को कोनसी जगह रे नियोजित कर दबा ताले हमको मृत्यु मुखर से ठेल दबो नरकगामी करेबो. तेणु आमको जीवन में आम जी समय भक्ति करुचे आम भलसे बुझा पड़ो ए दुनियाटा कौन दुखालय अशाश्वतम ता भितर रहीकि आम भगवान सहित भगवान भक्ति करुचे संघर्षर गुड़ाए ऑब्स्टेकल आम पाखे पहुंचुची माया बोली आम कहूचे तो आम यदि कहवा ना ना टिके करा टिके चाहिए ना आज तो भक्ति करनी चलो काली कले हम एमती ना आमको सिंसियर हबार अच्छी कंसिस्टेंसी हबार अच्छी. जस्ट आज मुझे भागवतम श्रवण करी कि द सोर्स ऑफ ग्रेट डिस्ट्रेस the source of great distress is inconsistency in bhakti and having ulterior motive. तो हमें जो दुख पाउचे दुखर कारण भक्त काहे दुख पाउचे या जे भक्ति मार्ग को आसुची से काहे दुख पाउचे सेठी कहा होची कि source of great distress is inconsistency in devotion. भक्ति रे जोटा inconsistency अछि मतलब से आज टिके करूची काली करूनी काली आ सिंसियर नाही परदिन सिंसियर अछि inconsistency. आ सेकंड ला अल्टीरियर मोटिव से भक्ति कोन पय करा जाय से जानि नै से कोन पय करूची ये भक्ति एत पय करबी कि मु इंद्रिय तृप्ति करबी मु टिके भलसे रहबी कि शांति रे रहबी कि से दुनिया रा नेचर को से बुझी पारि नै पन कारण शास्त्र अध्ययन हेई नै पन त हमको आउरी ए सब इंच टिके कोन गंदी फोकस फोकस माने अभिज्ञ हवार अछि एतरे. लास्ट पैराग्राफ वी आर रीडिंग. So therefore a man will attack even his children or even his daughter. Why it is mentioned? Sorry. Okay. So the result is death. Similarly, if the controlled senses work in their own way, यदि हमर सेंसेस गुडा अनकंट्रोल हे जायतिबो निज हिसाब से काम करतिबो then the person who is residing the chariot will be in dangerous position. से भयानक स्थिति रे पहुंचेबो. So let us summarize all this paragraph. We have read 20 minutes. So Prabhupada mentioning the highest of all yoga is bhakti yoga, and bhakti yoga means it is just eating prasadam, chanting and dancing with the Lord. That is the simplicity of bhakti yoga. And the Prabhupada is exposing the concept of bogus or modern yoga system, which is more or less centered around this bodily concept of life. That's why Prabhupada mentioning yoga means you have to control our senses, and basically 4 regulative principles, that is sex life, intoxication, meat eating and gambling or sporting. And then Prabhupada mentioning by controlling our senses we will be able to concentrate our attention with the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And lastly, Prabhupada is comparing this senses. You can remember this analogy. How Prabhupada is comparing this senses to the horses and serpent. By comparing this senses, uncontrollable senses with the horses or serpent, the result is the person who is residing in the chariot, he will be in dangerous position. So next time we'll see more into this. But it's this uncontrollable nature of this uncontrollable senses. किछि किछि बुझी हला नितीश प्रभु तुमरो किछि बुझी हला
आज्ञा प्रभु जी. हरे कृष्ण बुझेला.
अर्चिता माता जी तुमरो बुझी हला तुम
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Again Prabhuji.
तो या प्रकार किसी ऑब्जर्वेशन अच्छी कि शेयर कर परियो समटाइम्स आमे तळे हमरो सेंसेस गुडा को कंट्रोल करंदी वी फील सम काइंड ऑफ हैप्पीनेस ओके व्हेन अननेसेसरीली समटाइम्स जेतल भाबो आमे रात्रि किछि बहुत खाइ देजे सकाळ को हमर पूरा इंडाइजेशन हे जायछि पेट भी खराब हे जायछि तो हम कंडीशन टिके भयानक हे जाय किंतु आमे गले रात्रि ठीक परिमाण रे खाइतिबा सकाळ को बढ़िया से हजम भी जाइतिबो ठीक टाइम रे उठितिबा पाठ भी पढ़ितिबा चैंटिंग भी कर देतिबा so we will feel blissful in the whole day okay so sethipai controlling the senses it brings less hesitation to our mind and by controlling senses we can concentrate on supreme lord krishna and whole day we will try to connect whatever we are reading or chanting or doing any kind of service we will try to connect everything with krishna and that brings the theme of blissfulness in a devotee life. The devotee is always happy even if he works too much for the service of krishna he becomes happy. He's not he sometimes body get tired but he is always full of enthusiasm. That's the nature of devotional blissful devotional service. Hope you little bit understand all this concept. Try to note all these things so that it will be helpful for our own conviction and sharing with others. Okay, should we stop or anything? Okay, one small question. Some devotee is asking, I won't take his name. So Prabhuji is mentioning that in ISKCON, who are connecting with ISKCON, the people, the devotee of ISKCON, they are making others full-time brahmachari. Hari Bol. Okay, so people have some type of misconception that by connecting to ISKCON or by connecting to this bhakti line, one has to leave his whole family, leave his career, or leave everything back, and he will join full time in ISKCON. So let me give one small example. In ISKCON Bhubaneswar, the connected devotee on an approximately there is connected devotee is 10,000, and the number of devotee who is full time or brahmachari are 80. How much? 80. It is not 100 also. It is less than 1%. Okay, you won't believe. You can count here. You can come and count here. So we never, Prabhupada is explaining the Varnashram system. Earlier we have discussed Varnashram system is completely scientific. No one is allowed to join Brahmachari ashram or dedicate his whole life just for the purpose of sustenance. No, one whose psychophysical nature is completely matching, he wants genuinely to do service of Lord Jagannath, Krishna Balram or Radha Gopinath, here only he can join. Also his psychophysical nature must match, else he will be in difficult situation. At the right point of time he won't marry or he will join, and the latter he feel uncomfortable, incompetent to stay in the ashram, then he will to go back to family life, so that is also become difficult. So in ISKCON or in Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, it is prescribed we have to become brahmachari for 25 years at least. And for Mataji, one must preserve his purity for the whole lifetime. It is not 25 years, for the whole lifetime. And that's why at the marriageable age, one get married with the consent of their parents and we get the nice children of Krishna consciousness and serve the Supreme Lord at their own home and preach Krishna consciousness and get home, go back home, back to Godhead. But there is no compulsion. One need to join full time in Islam. I never say. Is there anyone here saying that I ever say, oh Prabhuji or Mataji, please stop your work, chant 16 now? I never say anyone else. Okay, so there is no concept like this. One's psychological nature, one's addiction to Krishna consciousness, and one's responsibility. Sometimes people join ISKCON or any spiritual organization for their own sustenance. Okay, so that is not allowed here. One has to serve. Even if the outside people, in my own company, I serve 8 hours, full day, 10 to 5:30. It means 8 hours, on an approximately 8 hours. But in ISKCON, devotees serve on around 12 to 13 or 14 hours. They serve there in different capacity. So that is not say one just that is not concept working here in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada never allowed this. Okay. So that's why, so there is no concept of full-time joining brahmachari. If one is connecting or I am enforcing anybody else, no. So one, very peacefully chant and serve at your own place, and all are now students. They can pursue good education, material education for a good career, make family if you desire so, or if you want to join, that is your own option. With your spiritual guide, you may convince to buy. Okay, Hare Krishna. Hope your answer got cleared. Okay, any further question? So I have also planned to make a session regarding ISKCON, all misconception that is people ask regarding ISKCON. We'll hold this session in future. Okay. Still any question you may ask?
प्रभु जी आपण जो पॉइंट कहले मु तापर किछि टिके ऐड करियो चाहूँ।
Sure, sure, sure.
प्रभु जी आमे वर्णाश्रम सिस्टम रे देखथिले कि जहार जोटा इच्छा माने जदि जनकु क्षत्रिय जन जदि जने माने कोन वेदर अध्ययन एते करि पाउनी तो से क्षत्रिय रे ट्रेनिंग नै कि से क्षत्रिय हेई परिबो। इफ से सेटा भी कर पाउनी तो वैश्य हेई परिबो। एम्ति करी कि वर्णाश्रम सिस्टम टा पूरा बेस हेइतला। एबे जदि जदि समस्त ब्रह्मचर्य धारण करिवे माने समस्त जदि ब्राह्मण हेई जिवे धर वर्णाश्रम सिस्टम रे तो प्रभु जी हमको कहते कि जदि समस्ते ब्राह्मण हेजिबे ताहले तांको रक्षा किए करिवो। जेमती कुआइतला कि ब्राह्मण माने हेले हेड हमर तो हेड को प्रोटेक्ट करिया पई तो ये भी दरकार ना, हाथ भी दरकार। तो फेणे कर्म करिया माने काम करिया पई तुमको गोड़ भी दरकार, शूद्र भी सेमती की दरकार। एबे जदि समस्ते सब ब्राह्मण यज्ञ करिवे तो यज्ञ कला बेले जो पूजा सामग्री थिबो से माने कोठु आनिबे कि जिते भी काम थी से माने किए करेंगे तो समस्त का इक्वल माने गोटे साइंटिफिक सिस्टम अच्छी तो ऑल आर इक्वल माने ऑल आर इम्पोर्टेंट एमती ना है कि समस्त को हबारे ये अरे
Also extreme never happens. Okay. समते कहते यार तू घर जड़ छाड़ देलु सब एति ब्रह्मचारी हे जो कोन हबो। Extreme never happens. Okay. Life is always balancing.
हरे
Okay, we'll
कृष्ण
stop
प्रभु।
here. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Nitish Prabhu.
मुझे गोटे क्वेश्चन थिला ए वर्णाश्रम व्यवस्था को नेकरी।
Sure.
प्रभु जी आमे सुनछे जे जो माने आचार्य माने अछंती ब्राह्मण माने से माने समाज को शिक्षा दियंती, ज्ञान प्रदान करंती। तो क्षत्रिय माने जेहेतु से माने सुरक्षा करंती, प्रशासनिक व्यवस्था संभाळंती, से माननको राजनीति आ शस्त्र नीति दीटा शिक्षा से दिया जाए। और से दीटार शिक्षा भी ब्राह्मण माने ही दियंती। यदि ब्राह्मण माने क्षत्रिय माननको शस्त्र विद्यार शिक्षा दबार सक्षम, राजनीतिर शिक्षा दबार सक्षम, तारे ब्राह्मण माने समाजर शासन कोन प्रशासनिक व्यवस्था कोन पई संभाळी पाइबेनी और सुरक्षा कोन पई करि परिबेनी। द्रोणाचार्य भी तो माने कौरव पांडव माननको से युद्ध विद्यार निपुण करथिले। आउ भगवान परशुराम से भी कर्ण को शिक्षा देथिले, आउ अनेक महायोद्धा माननको शिक्षा करथिले। से ब्राह्मण माने ऑल्दो इज भगवान किंतु जेतक ब्राह्मण अछंती से माने भी तो वशिष्ठ महर्षि वशिष्ठ से भी श्री राम तांकर चारि भाई आउ सबु से माने तो शिक्षा दे पारने तले से माने कोन पई करि परिबेनी सुरक्षा।
तो तुम्हें बहुत सुंदर प्रश्न पचारल। जो प्रश्न पचारल कर्ण और परशुराम, तो कर्ण को परशुराम कहीं रिजेक्ट कर देले?
से गुरु महाराज को मिछ कहथिले बोली।
हाँ, मिछटा कौन थिला?
जैसे क्षत्रिय संतान बोली, क्षत्रिय बोली।
किंतु से एक्ट करथिले जेतबळे से इंद्रदेव आसी तांको टेस्ट कले, जेतबळे से तांको शरीर जेतबळे ब्लीडिंग होउतला से टॉलरेट कर देउतले। तो क्षत्रिय जने टॉलरेट करिवो, किंतु से आस्ति जने ब्राह्मण है कि कारण से क्षत्रिय को कोन ये करिया पई दो नथिले। परशुराम निजे आस्तिले क्षत्रिय मानन को हत्या करिया पई, धरा पृष्ठ तांकर भार उद्धार करिया पई। सेति पई से जेतबळे कहिले कि नाइ नाइ मु केवल ब्राह्मण मानन को शिक्षा देबी, तो ये क्षत्रिय ब्राह्मण वेशरे आस्तिले। तो ब्राह्मण और क्षत्रिय डिस्टिंक्शन अछि। ब्राह्मण कौन करिवो सब शिक्षा दे परिवो, किंतु तांकर हार्ट टा एते स्ट्रांग हार्टेड नु से माने। तो से मानकर पाखरे जति कि ओटे क्षत्रिय र समस्त कोन बंधुक उठे परिवे? आमे उठे परिवानी। आमे उठे पाले भी मारी परिवानी। काहे मारी परिवानी? कारण हमति हार्ट दरकार, हार्ड हार्टेड हवा दरकार। सेति कि क्षत्रिय शिक्षा शिक्षा प्राप्त करते, किंतु जे ब्राह्मण ताको शिक्षा दान करिए से केबे भी कर परिवनी। कारण स्वभाव न का हत्या करबा ए सब जिंस ब्राह्मण द्वारा हबो ही नाही। ब्राह्मण देखे ना, ब्रह्म जानती ब्राह्मण से समस्त मध्य समानता देखीदब, हत्या करिवो केमती? एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन केतळे आसीबो तळे किछि गुड पीपल किछि बैड पीपल को नेकी बैलेंस करथिबो तो ब्राह्मण तो सेटा होबनी ना तो स्वभाव थिबो इक्वालिटी समदर्शी थिबो केमति करिवो से तो स्वभाव अनुसार मैं कहले साइकोफिजिकल नेचर अनुसार जनकर जन्म परे तार कर्म आउ तार कोन गुण ता अनुसार हमें विभाजन करंती के को सेक्शन को जीव बुझला ना
प्रभु जी एथरो जे ब्राह्मण माने साधारणतः सरल स्वभाव रही कोमल हृदय रही तो दुर्वासा मुनि तो माने महाक्रोधी से तो देवता माने भी डरंती भय से माने भी कंपती थर थर हेकरी तो सेठी कौन विश्वामित्र मुनि कथा कहे वशिष्ठ 100 पुत्र से मारी देथिले क्रोध रे आसी तो से भी तो ब्राह्मण
क्रोधी हे पारिबो सरल हे पारिबो किंतु क्रोधी भी हे पारिबो क्रोधी कौन क्रोध ब्राह्मण जो गुण अच्छी सरलता और क्रोध दीटा अपोजिट अलग अलग धर गोटे ब्राह्मण अभिशाप के दब पुणी तो क्रोध प्रकाश कले अभिशाप दब ना तो दीटा जो गुण अच्छी कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी गुण किंतु सेम गुणटा एमती काली आम शुणुले हनुमान हनुमान जो वर्ण हो गला कौन रक्त वर्ण हो गला कहीं से सीता देवी को देखिले कि से मस्तक पति रामचंद्र धारण कर कौन सिंदूर धारण कर तो सिंपल जिन से बुझले कि ना मु मोर प्रभु कौन करी पूरा शरीर रे ही सिंदूर धारण करी सरल मनोवृत्ति किंतु असीम शक्तिर अधिकारी थे तो दीटा सेम जगह प्राप्त हवा ये गोटे विलक्षण भी समस्ते हो पारे समस्त बुद्धि सामर्थ्य सब पारे साइमल्टेनियसली सरलता थी दीटाक देखियार अच्छे तेणु दुर्वासा मुनि पाखे सरलता थिला दुर्वासा मुनि कुंती महाराणी को आशीर्वाद दे नथिले कि अक्षय पात्र प्रदान करथिले बहुत जगह प्रदान करछन्ते आशीर्वाद आशीर्वाद भी अमोघ बढिया सेमती जोटी कोन क्रोध आसुची से अनुसार से डेलीवर करछन्ते जहा अभिशाप दबार अछि रहि पारे सेमती किछ
नहीं हरे कृष्ण बुझे
हरे
धन्यवाद
कृष्ण समस्त मौसमी माता जी तुमर किसी ऑब्जर्वेशन अछि प्रश्न अछि ना सन
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी हाँ प्रभु जी प्रश्न तो किसी नहीं
प्रश्न किछि नाही आउ किछि कहया पई चाहुचन्ती
हाँ प्रभु जी कौन कहबी सब तो डिस्कशन हो गला
अरे बोल चलो ठीक अछि
हरे कृष्ण
नेक्स्ट टाइम हमें किसी सस्पेंस रखी डिस्कशन करिया ताकि समस्त किसी पार्टिसिपेट कर पारे ठीक अछि हमें एटी रहबा पंचाकल्पतरुर्वश्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय गौर प्रमाण हरि हरि हरे कृष्ण।